Hello, my name is Lucía Moros Poveda and I am working at the University of Murcia and at the same time at the International University of La Rioja. It is a pleasant stay here in the 6th International Congress of Continuing Education, Innovation in Teaching and Research in the Social Science, Law and the Humanities. In the light of improving university education through international exchange and cooperation, I present the work Annotating the Spanish Language Corpus with ILAN, a pedagogical approach to linguistic diversity in education. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we are looking at one of the most fascinating and honestly one of the most complex challenges in the modern linguistic. We are exploring the creation of the Spanish language corpus, or CORLSE. We are going to dive into the monumental task of documenting, preserving, and actually teaching in highly vulnerable, completely three-dimensional language. Let's go right into it. Just think about this for a second. Imagine that logical difficulty of this. How exactly do you capture language that isn't written down with ink and isn't spoken with sound, but is literally physically moved through space, when a language relies entirely on the simultaneous movement of hands, facial expression, and body posture? How on earth do you put that into a searchable database? And it's an incredible puzzle. And today we are going to see exactly how researchers are solving it. Here's our roadmap for today. First, documenting a visual language. Second, gathering LCE across Spain. Third, the multimodal annotation puzzle. Fourth, translating movement to data. And finally, fostering inclusive classroom. All right, kicking things out, part 1, documenting a visual language. Let's establish a baseline here. What actually is a corpus? Anyway, according to the Real Academia Española, it's a structured collection of texts of linguistic data designed to support scientific analysis. Basically, in modern linguistics, there are the digitized data sets that let us systematically investigate how language is actually used. And that is the key part of corpora are pulled from real everyday communication. We are not talking about abstract theory. It's living, breathing language, captured or unorganized. Now you should know that CORLSE isn't just happening in a vacuum. It's a part of a massive growing global movement. We are seeing researchers in Australia, Ireland, the Netherlands, Norway, Brazil, and behind launching similar initiatives. And why is that? Because the global academic community recognizes that sign language aren't just simple guide listeners, not at all. They are distinct, incredible, complex linguistic systems that absolutely deserve a systematic documentation and rigorous analysis. Moving on to part 2, gathering LCE across Spain. To give you a sense of sheer dedication involved here, you have to understand this was not some quick weekend project. The team began their data collection WeBank in 2016. For 7 years, all the way through to the 2023, these researchers took a massive national undertaking. They traveled, they recorded, and they meticulously cataloged communicated task just to build a representative sample that let us analyze the structure and evolution of LCE. And the crucial piece of the puzzle here is who they were recording. The project involved about 70 deaf signers from 17 different locations all across Spain. This guarantees that the audiovisual material they generated is deeply and naively authentic, to make sure the sample was truly representative. The researchers didn't just grab anybody. They carefully select participants based in key sociolinguistic variables, sync age, gender, educational background, and family hearing status. And then each participant engaged in tasks that generate all kinds of discourse, narrative, descriptive, explanatory, and argumentative. They weren't just asking people to sing a stereolist of words. They were capturing real stories, real arguments, and real explanations to reflect the true diversity of everyday communication. Which brings us to part 3, the multimodal annotation puzzle. Okay, here is the massive technical hurdle researchers run into. It is a concept called multimodality. Once you have hundreds of videos, how do you process all that visual data into something a computer can actually search? You see, in spoken language, sounds happen sequentially. One word right after the other. But sign language, it's multimodal. It incorporates simultaneous visual, spatial, and gestural components. A signer is moving their hands, shifting their posture, and changing their facial expression all at the same time. It's like complex visual symphony. All carriers distinct grammatical mean. Documenting all those simultaneous actions accurately is spontaneously harder than just transcribing an audio file. Think about how we analyze written text. Linguistic luxury of text-based, semi-automatic tagging tool. Algorithms can jump in and go the way lifting for us. But sign language annotation, because it's purely visual and spatial solve, it has to be conducted line by hand. Listeners literally have to watch video, segment it, and label the meaningful gestures manually. It is incredible time consuming and technically grueling. That takes us to part 4, translating movement to data. To overcome this huge multimodal goal, researchers rely on a real game changer called Elan. Developed by the Max Planck Institute, Elan is a very specialized multimodal linguistic annotation tool. It's basically the bridge that allows researchers to take an audiovisual recording and transform it into structured, searchable data. Without a tool like this, taking 3-dimension movement and turning it into a usable database will be practically impossible. So, how does the actual workflow look? Well, the procedure follows a very precise set of conventions established by universities. First step is glossing, which is essentially writing down a capitalized word that represents the core meaning of the sign. Step 2 is the Spanish translation, providing the direct meaning in the spoken language. And the third step is contextual commentary. Researchers add notes about the specific situational context. And this is where you really see how meticulous this work is. In Elan, researchers aren't tagging the hands. Sure, they annotate manual signs, but they also capture non-manual components like subtle highbrow raise or a specific lip movement. They tag meaningful gestures and were known as classifiers, which are specific hand shapes used to represent goal classes of objects. Every single visual twitch or gen shape is meticulously catalogued in a specific tier in the software, so everything stays completely consistent across the entire database. Finally, let's look at part 5, fostering inclusive classrooms. So what is the ultimate payoff for all this hard work? Well, the beauty on the CORLSE project is that the data isn't just locked away on some dusty academic server. By integrating all this annotated data, they create a living, searchable repository. It provides authentic examples of LCE usage that are designed directly to educational innovation, practical teaching, and the active preservation of revitalization of the language itself. Bringing this corpus-based methodology into educational settings is transformative. Seriously, it's completely changed standard classrooms. It promotes digital literacy by getting students hands-on with contemporary technology. It encourages civic engagement and a deep respect for linguistic diversity. Best of all, it fosters genuinely multilingual learning space, which guarantees equitable participation for both deaf and hearing students alike. This quote really gets to the heart of the source material. Why does all this painstaking manual frame by frame annotation matter? Because corpus linguistic directly supports the protection of minority and vulnerable languages. Spanish Sign Language currently has a vulnerable social linguistic status. So initiatives like CORLSE say just about the science of linguistics, they are about strengthening fundamental human and linguistic rights, ensuring accessibility, and demanding real education inclusion. Which leave us with this final thought. We've seen exactly how tools like Elan can take a complex three-dimension visual language and turn it into an incredible resource that champions human rights in classroom inclusion. So it really makes you wonder, how else can we use modern technology and annotate corporate for further elevate and protect the rest of the world's minority languages? It's a huge question, and it's absolutely going the shape that future of global education. Thank you so much for gagging with me for this explainer. Thank you very much for being patient with me with my pronunciation. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.